미스테리목요일. 미스테리목요일 on a Thursday afternoon. Jonah, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about a very famous American folklore tale about a mysterious being that haunted a town in West Virginia.
The title, I think Kate has brought up before. Can I mention the title now?
Yeah, you may.
Mothman?
Yes, Mothman.
You mentioned it to me a few months ago at some point, and I said, who's that? What's that?
Richard Gere.
I mean, yeah, it's a movie too.
Oh, it's a movie too, starring Richard Gere?
Yes.
But it's based off of events that actually happened.
But being Canadian, I had never heard of that before.
But I mean, being from not the East Coast of America, I also didn't hear about it until the movie.
Oh, interesting.
It's kind of like local folklore, but
Yeah.
as the movie came out, it gained widespread attention.
All right. Well, this is going to be fun for me today because I don't know anything about the story.
Yeah.
You ready to go?
Here we go. On November 12, 1966, in Clendenin, West Virginia, a group of gravediggers working in a cemetery spotted something strange. They glanced up from their work as something huge soared over their heads. It was a massive figure that was moving rapidly from tree to tree. The gravediggers would later describe this figure as a brown human being with wings. Just 3 days after the gravediggers' initial report, in nearby Point Pleasant, West Virginia, two couples noticed a white-winged creature, about 6 or 7 feet tall, standing in front of their car. The beast had 10-foot wings and bright red eyes. These were the first reported sightings of the frightening creature known as the Mothman. According to the witnesses, this creature was able to fly at incredible speeds. Terrified, the couple sped off in their car, only to be chased by the creature to the outskirts of town. Knowing how absurd this must have sounded to a local newspaper in a small community in the 1960s, Roger Scarberry insisted that the apparition couldn't have been his imagination. At first, reporters were skeptical, but more and more sightings were reported in the Point Pleasant area over the next year as the legend of the Mothman took shape. In one famous account, resident Newell Partridge claimed that he saw strange patterns appearing on his television screen one night, followed by a mysterious sound just outside his home. Shining a flashlight outside, Partridge witnessed two red eyes resembling bicycle reflectors looking back at him. The creature then flew off, but not before snatching away Newell's beloved pet dog. And then tragedy struck. On December 15th, 1967, just a year over the first Mothman sighting, the Silver Bridge connecting Point Pleasant to a nearby town in Ohio collapsed during rush hour traffic, plunging 46 people to their death in the river below. Following the Mothman sightings, the bridge collapse was the second terrible and bizarre thing to put Point Pleasant on the map in a year's time. So it didn't take long for some to connect the two. But the question remains, who or what is the Mothman? Just an innocent bird or a harbinger of doom for the people of Point Pleasant?
Oh.
Very mysterious indeed.
I didn't know Ohio and West Virginia were connected by a bridge.
Oh yeah. They're right next to each other.
I'm very curious about American geography because I don't know everything about it. So whenever I learn a little factoid, it's always fun. Anyway, I digress. This is 1966, huh?
Yeah, it started in the 60s, but like we said, because of the movie, like more and more sightings have occurred over time, but these were the initial outbreaks, I guess.
When did the movie? I didn't even know there was a movie until you told me 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That was Richard Gere.
Yeah, Richard Gere.
That's an interesting choice, considering how you just described the Mothman to me.
Yeah.
Was Richard Gere the Mothman?
No.
the movie's called Mothman Prophecies.
Okay.
And it's basically him kind of trying to get to the bottom of this whole Mothman hullabaloo.
Oh, I see. I
Yeah.
see. What year? Do we know what year that came out?
2002.
Oh, not that.
yes.
Well, no, 20 years ago.
Oh my
Never
God,
mind.
20
Never
years
mind.
ago now.
Oh my. Oh my. Okay, so back to the story here. 1966, West Virginia. This all began with some grave diggers working in a cemetery, and then they were digging a grave at the time.
Yeah, they were digging a grave at the time, and they just saw something flipping through the trees quickly.
Presumably, this would have happened at night or in the middle of the night, perhaps.
Of course, it happened at night.
Yes, not at 3 in the afternoon when the sun.
It was also raining. And
Okay, skeptics.
But this was huge. This was, what did they say? 10-foot wings?
Yeah, 10-foot wings and bright red eyes.
And it stood about 6 or 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Okay, some other people spotted it a few days later.
Yeah,
Same area?
Yes, everything is in the same area. And at first, the initial gravedigger report was not taken very seriously. But as more and more people started reporting similar descriptions, the reporters started to publish it in the newspaper.
Oh, okay. So in the beginning, they just the media said, whatever.
Yeah.
But I would say it's huge. Like 10 feet might just sound like, oh, it's 10 feet. It's like 3 meters.
Yeah.
That's like 2 tall guys together. Or
Yeah,
maybe
Exactly.
not.
Yeah.
The vertical size of Mothman is not that impressive. 6 feet to 7 feet.
Yeah.
So I'm 6 feet tall.
But then you add in the red eyes, you add in the wings.
The 10-foot wingspan.
Yeah.
Imagine the sound it would make if it passed by like a helicopter. It's got a propeller on top of its head, like a top hat.
Go gadget. Okay, so that's fine. There have been a few sightings now. Some people have come out with their sightings and the stories about it. One guy said that he saw some red eyes outside and then something picked up his dog and flew away.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Poor doggy.
But then what's the connection? You mentioned, sorry, I'm asking a lot of questions here. What's the connection to the bridge collapse?
So these sightings had been happening in the area at the time, which was the first time this small community was receiving any attention from news media.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden for this bridge to collapse, which, fun fact, ended up being one of the first bridges to collapse of its type, which led to nationalized bridge inspection policies.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
this bridge collapse was a huge deal at the time.
I see.
But that's because of the sheer number, tourists coming to check out this town, or
Who knows what happened at the time, but they naturally are equating these Mothman sightings where people are already scared, and then this huge tragedy happens.
oh, I see.
So
I see. The point here is that nothing happened in this town in its history.
and
All of a sudden, you get these sightings of this 6-foot guy with wings taking dogs, and then even within a year, a bridge collapses. It's just like coincidence or not, right?
yeah.
Okay. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll find out if this is a coincidence or not, or if there's any conclusion to the tale of Mothman, starring Richard Gere.
Starring Richard Gere.
You're sick. I love that. Mothman. All right, so this mystery has been around since 1966. Pardon me. What kind of conclusions have people come up with?
Well, let's start with the more lighthearted ones. Of course, there's always going to be skeptics. So people just chalked it up to someone spooking the town as a prank
Oh,
and
like
running around.
in a costume.
Yeah, someone put on a costume, and some even say that they were walking around and just like hiding behind people's cars to
Oh.
spook them in the town.
Okay.
But
That's plausible.
Yeah. But it takes a lot of dedication to do that, I would say.
and for me, it doesn't explain the flying through the trees
Yeah.
and chasing people with cars.
Yeah, unless there was some sort of elaborate rope system previously set up, which is unlikely.
A
Yeah.
disgruntled trapeze artist.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So in the area, this is in West Virginia. In the immediate area, there was an abandoned World War II munitions warehouse.
Okay.
Oh.
They kept a lot of toxic chemicals in there, which at the time had become an environmental hazard, leaking into the environment. So people's first conspiracy theories were that the Mothman was a government experiment that escaped from the facility.
Like they were creating some sort of super military moth.
Yes.
Plausible.
Which is, who knows? It could be some conspiracy theory. But then a more realistic explanation is that it could be a giant bird, an actual bird. There's a... what do you think?
Sorry, go on.
There's a breed of bird called the sandhill crane, which is actually around 6 or 7 feet vertically,
Oh, that's
standing
really
wise.
tall.
Oh,
And-
really?
Yeah, exactly. Surprising. And they're known for having around a 10-foot wingspan.
Okay.
And they have their signature mark is bright red spots around their eyes,
Okay.
like
so,
marking feathers around their eyes.
oh, so it could be mistaken as like they just saw it and
Yes.
were like, oh my God, it's red eyes. But
And
it's,
especially because this type of bird is not native to the area, but has been known to migrate into the area on occasion.
I don't think it's the sandhill crane.
You don't think so?
because,
Because
I'm
why?
looking at it now, and
yeah.
it looks like a bird.
It looks like a bird, right? It
There's-
doesn't look like a man.
There's no mistaking. I mean, sometimes birds will kind of like stand up taller and like throw their wings out to the sides.
Yeah.
Almost like jazz hands,
Exactly.
bird version.
Yeah.
So I guess if it's dark or foggy
Yeah.
and that thing is standing in front of you, in front of your car lights, which kind of hinders your vision, okay.
Yeah.
Now, another possible explanation is because of the munitions warehouse in the area,
Yeah.
the bird, if it had been living in the immediate area, could have been exposed to toxic chemicals, thereby
Ooh.
deforming it.
Bird mutation.
Bird mutation.
Okay.
Which could explain why this bird looked a little strange and not as bird-like to the local people.
And you wouldn't have seen many because it's not a lot that would have gotten mutated.
It could have
Exactly.
given it super strength to pick up that dude's puppy and fly away.
Exactly.
Yep.
It could have been. There's one more bird-related possibility.
Okay.
It could have just been an owl.
An owl that big though.
Because actually, owls are bigger than most people think. When we think of owls, we think of, cute, like
Hedwig.
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 Hedwig. Yeah.
Hedwig? Yeah, from Harry Potter,
From Harry
the white
Potter,
one.
Yeah. People think that it's just like that, but there are breeds of owls that are much larger, and in the night, when you reflect light into their eyes, it can glow a red. So
And they are nocturnal,
exactly.
That's true.
so they would it does match their sleeping schedule.
And if this resident's dog was small enough
Yeah.
and was outside in the nighttime, the owl could have picked it up as prey.
That's very true.
Owls aren't typically known to take on dogs though, right?
If it was like a very small, like a Maltese.
Or like a chihuahua.
Yeah.
I've just done an internet search of the world's largest owls.
Yes.
Number 5 is 3.2 pounds with a wingspan of 4.6 feet. That's the great horned owl.
That's only like half the
Yeah,
size
that's
of what
only
we're
half the
talking about.
size.
I'll skip 4, 3, and 2. Oh, number 3 is huge. Number 2, straight to number 1 on the list, which is Blackiston's fish owl. 6.8 to 8 pounds with a wingspan of 6.5 feet. But it lives in Russia, China, and Hokkaido, Japan. So unlikely
so
to find
unlikely
its
to
way
be.
to West Virginia,
Virginia.
despite their mountain highways.
It's true. Yes. But in the end, you have to consider that this was the 1960s. If people at the time had seen anything out of the ordinary,
Yeah.
their first reaction would be to exaggerate and,
Is that what
be
people
scared.
did? I thought you were going to say we have to remember this is the 1960s when the hippies were having the time of their lives.
No, but
So seeing mythical creatures in the night was kind of a norm for people all around the United States.
it's true. But this case is often seen as a case of mass hysteria. A small community is exposed to some potentially dangerous threat,
And then people
causing panic.
Yeah, people hear about it once and then they think they saw it too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes the most sense actually.
I think so as well.
Interesting story. The Mothman from West Virginia. We'll wrap up hour number 1 with this. this. Time flies. Monsters.